Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex. It is officially Saturday night, and I just got done watching the movie called The Tenet. So, this is going to be my DVD movie review of The Tenet. Normally, I always watch the movie first, and then if I buy the DVD 6 months to a year later, then I actually would consider doing a second movie review. So, never done a DVD movie review before. It shouldn't be that much different from what I normally do. Now, this is going to be on probably one or two YouTube channels. Alright, so this is going to probably be between 5 to 10, maybe 12 minutes. I promise it ain't going to be that long of a review. It's been a long time since I've done original content on my YouTube channel. As you do know, on YouTube, I don't just talk about sex games. I also talk about television and film, and a big part of my success on YouTube was doing movie reviews. I would always go to the movies, whether it was a Friday, a Saturday, or a Sunday from work, and I would actually go watch a movie. I would watch at least 3 movies a month and give you 3 movie reviews, 3 movies a month. Skip 2 months, another 3 movies, another 3 movie reviews. So this is going to be probably the first of many DVD movie reviews. Now I will work my way up to HBO Max and watch Wonder Woman 1984. So even though this is a DVD, there are still some people who, most of the people have already seen the Tenet, but then there's some people who probably don't know that the DVD's out or haven't gotten around to it because there's the other movies we ain't have a chance to see. So you know how I do my movie reviews, even if it's a DVD movie review. Spoiler alert. Let me say it again. Spoiler alert. Let me say it again. Spoiler alert. You have been warned. If you ain't seen it on pay-per-view or if you ain't got the DVD, you've been warned. Spoiler alert. Now the movie is like it's a science fiction thriller. It's science fiction, it's a thriller, it's an action suspense thriller. It's like 5 different genres packed into one. It's directed by film director, producer and writer Christopher Nolan. He's a great film director. If you like movies like Interception, then this movie will grab you. Now, the beginning of the movie starts off with them going to the opera to go rescue an operative. And the actor who plays this movie is John David Washington, and basically, he's incredible in this film. Basically, he gets killed like multiple times throughout the whole entire film. And basically, the concept is you need to go into the past to change the future, and then you need to go into the future to save the whole world to prevent the past for even making the future worse off than what it is. So it's kind of like the Matrix, the Terminator, and Interception all wrapped into one. Now, why I say that is because he's actually from the future, but he doesn't realize he's from the future. He thinks he's from the past and the present, and he's actually from the future going back into the past to do the job that he was asked to do in the first place. So when he saves them, and they have this incredible fighting scene where they pose as SWAT. He goes in there and he pretty much saves the guy, and then he doesn't realize it's a test. None of this stuff has actually happened. And when he realized this, he goes on his next mission where he meets an arms dealer, and this arms dealer basically has a wife that he abuses, and basically he uses her as an inside mole to get information on where is he hiding the weapon that could probably bring the end of our destruction. And basically, to make a long story short, he meets Robert Pattinson's character, who he recruited in the future, and the dynamic duo was perfect. You could see the chemistry between Robert Pattinson and John David Washington. You could see how the chemistry between these two was just dynamic on screen. You could see why they put them together. Perfect chemistry. It worked very well. They played off of each other so very well. Same thing with the actress. They played off very well. All the characters had a great interaction. Everyone was very intertwined with each other. It reminded me of Interception. And the reason why I say that is because like they would fast forward and it would rewind and it would be like a cross between Interception and playing a Halo video game because the fighting scenes were very well done, the special effects was good, the sound was good, and the fact that every character got their chance to play their role in the movie was very good. Nobody overshadowed anyone in this film. Everyone got a good fair of amount of screen time in this movie, and you could see why this movie was such a big deal. I almost didn't get the DVD to this because when I went to go buy it at Target, it almost sold out. So you can see why this is the number one movie at the box office and the best DVD sales thus far. Now, the first 45 minutes, there is a lot of talking, there is a lot of dialogue. Knowing me, I like action-packed movies where the movie starts off with a bang and ends with a bang. With this, it takes a while to build up. So the first 45 minutes is to set up the plot of the film. You know the main characters. You know he's a spy. So to me, it brought in some James Bond qualities. Like you could tell the second half of it, it was James Bond. Because what does James Bond does? He has a girl that he goes and talks to. You notice there's like two girls in the movie. Excuse me, I had dinner earlier. There's two girls in the movie, and then there's a partner. So the first half, it's like Terminator meets the Matrix, Interception. The second half of the movie, it's like James Bond because he's got to go undercover, he's got to get information, then he has to put it together, and then he has to figure out how to stop the bad guy. And the special effects was fantastic. Like they would fast forward explosions, and then it would explode again. And then there was the incredible car chase, which reminded me of Matrix Reloaded. If you remember the freeway, it's almost the same freeway with the same sequence. The difference is he fast forwards the event, rewinds the event, goes back in time, and tries to stop the bad guy from that perspective. And the fact that they took the concept of time and made it where what if you could change your past and your future and what would be the consequences of it, I thought was very well good. I think the moral of the message is you can change your future if you change your past and present. And they use the concept of being an international spy for this movie that worked very well for this film. What I liked about the movie is that the movie was very well blend. Now, I know some people said that their running time was way too much. Like, some people didn't like the fact that it was 151 minutes. Christopher Nolan likes to make 2.5 hour, close to 3 hour films. And to me, this movie was good. I mean, this was really, really enjoyable. To me, it wasn't that drawn out. I mean, yeah, there's the 5 minute dialogue, but every movie has to have dialogue. They got to establish who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, who are the supporting characters. So the first 45 minutes was to set up the plot. The second half of that is just straight action. You know, you got explosions, you got guys fighting other characters, and they kind of took a page out of Tom Cruise's Edge of Tomorrow. Because if you look at Edge of Tomorrow and you look at this movie, there are some similarities. Both characters end up going back to the beginning every time they lose, and they discover something that wasn't there from before. And this movie kind of gives you the hint that if the director wanted to, they could come back with a sequel, and it's already indicated an Easter egg when Robert Pattinson's character say, "You're the one who recruited me," and they're going to go back to save the world. You get the feeling that they could make a sequel out of this. In fact, you probably could make 3 films out of this and turn it into a trilogy. I'm okay with it just being one film, but you could make a part 2 and then later contemplate if you want to make a part 3. So if they make 2 more films after this, I'm okay. But most of the time when Christopher Nolan does these big movie epics, they're usually just one film and that's it. You know, Interception was a great, fantastic film and it should have got a sequel and it never did. And this is kind of like on the same level as the Matrix film, Interception. Now, this could get a sequel. I give it about 3-4 years from now. It might get a sequel. It may not. All the characters are alive where you could make a sequel or sequels. The soundtrack was banging. I liked the soundtrack. It fit the movie very well. It had a natural flow to the film. Basically, I'm gonna give it from a scale from 1 to 10. I'm probably gonna give this a 10 because what surprised me about this film was it had multiple genres, multiple themes. Most movie get one, maybe two or three genres. You had like five genres in here. There was kind of like the entertainment of a romance in this film. Like you can tell the guy started to develop feelings for the girl. And again, that goes back to James Bond. Like the first half, it's The Matrix, it's Terminator, it's Interception, the first half. And then the second half, it's a James Bond movie. Because in James Bond films, what does the main character do? He falls in love with a girl, and then he has to fight the bad guys, and then it becomes a compromise because his feelings gets involved. So the second half was like James Bond. And the fact that the scenes were so very well put together, the ending of the movie was the beginning, and the beginning was the ending of the movie. And most people who watch films like that get confused. Like if you watch Loopers, right? Loopers was kind of like that, and that kind of reminded me of that. So this movie might remind you of two or three other films that are similar to it. So I liked the movie a lot. From a scale from 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 10. Now some people give it a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I give it a 10 out of 10 because it was that very good of a film. Most movies where the dialogue is like 45 minutes long, some people go, it's boring. Well, let's get to the action. Now, with Christopher Nolan's, he likes to have messages in his films besides all the straight action. Like Batman Begins was like that. A lot of people forget that very first Batman film was kind of like that, where there was a lot of dialogue, and in the second half of the movie, it was just straight action, action, action. And if he makes a sequel, he'll probably follow the same trend as The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight was so action-packed that it became better than the first film. It has the potential to get onto that same level. So we're already like 12 minutes into this review. It's a DVD movie review of the Tenet. Until next time, peace.